Here are the top stories for today, September 10, 2020. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana supports the ban on home quarantine for COVID-19 patients. Over 1,000 Filipinos in the United Arab Emirates joined the clinical trials for Sinopharm's COVID-19 vaccine. The Bureau of Corrections starts processing the release of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. And the DOH and World Health Organization promote holistic mental wellness amid the COVID-19 pandemic in observance of World Suicide Prevention Day. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana strongly supports a proposal to ban home quarantine for COVID-19 patients. The proposal was made by Interior Secretary Eduardo Año, noting the increase in the number of infected persons due to home quarantine. Lorenzana said they are open to exceptions such as a condition where a patient is in a house containing rooms with its own bathrooms and could be shut from other family members. Elderly or senior citizens might also be exempted if it is not advisable for them to be taken to isolation facilities. Medical frontliners in South Cotabato have appealed for the immediate declaration of Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ in the area amid increasing cases of COVID-19. Members of the South Cotabato Medical Society or SOCOMED and officials of rural health units issued the appeal as they confirmed that a total of 25 health workers have been infected since last month. Based on SOCOMED's monitoring, a total of 206 health workers in the province are currently under quarantine after being exposed to their infected colleagues. SOCOMED President Dr. Rachel Suarez-Uy said the lack of available personnel has caused the temporary closure of the South Cotabato Provincial Hospital delivery room and crippled the contact tracing capability as well as other ground services of Coronadal City Health Office. She said drastic measures should be implemented to slow down the transmission of the virus and save the hospital system from unwanted collapse. South Cotabato has been under the more relaxed modified GCQ since June 1. Senate President Vicente Soto III has filed a bill mandating public officials and employees to annually submit a medical certificate to prove that they are fit to work. Senate Bill number 1818, or the proposed Fit to Work Act, mandates public servants to submit a medical certificate yearly to ensure that they are in a state of health that would enable them to perform their tasks satisfactorily and provide prompt and adequate service to the public. Failure to submit the required medical certificate shall be considered as an administrative offense. Public officials and employees could also be charged criminally for the issuance and use of fake medical certificates. Pasig City is gearing up for the upcoming opening of classes in public schools. Meanwhile, Quezon City noted a decrease in the number of cases, and San Juan partners with a private hospital to accommodate indigent patients. More on these from Benj Bondo.
An independent research group has observed a significant decline in the number of COVID-19 cases in Quezon City. According to Octa Research, the average number of daily cases dropped to 456 from August 17 to 23 from 540 from August 10 to 16. It further dropped to 372 from August 24 to 30 and to 205 from September 1 to September 6. Mayor Joy Belmonte welcomed the development, saying this would help them identify hotspot barangays and improve their services. In Pasig City, public school students will be receiving their own tablets soon. According to Mayor Vico Soto, the tablets are scheduled for delivery to the city on or before September 30 and distribution will start on October 1. Soto said that the local government is moving quickly to ensure a smooth blended and distance learning in the city. The city government has earlier built internet centers installed with high-speed computer network access to support the new normal education setup in the city amid the health crisis. Meanwhile, the city government of San Juan signed a memorandum of agreement with Cardinal Santos Medical Center to strengthen the provision of medical assistance to marginalized residents. Those who wish to avail of medical services are to coordinate first with the city's Public Assistance Center so that a proper referral system could be observed. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Some 1,500 Filipinos in the United Arab Emirates participated in Sinopharm's clinical trial for its candidate vaccine against COVID-19. The Chinese embassy in Manila said they are among the more than 30,000 volunteers who joined the Chinese company's Phase 3 clinical trial, which started on June 23. The candidate vaccine is expected to enter similar last-stage evaluations in Bahrain, Argentina, Peru, and Morocco, involving more than 50,000 volunteers from its 115 countries. According to the embassy, over hundreds of thousands of people have been inoculated with Sinopharm's vaccine since July, with no cases of severe adverse effects or infection. The Chinese candidate vaccine is expected to be on the market by the end of December 2020. Former police officer Cesar Mancao has been named chief of an attached agency in charge of all functions related to cybersecurity. Mancao was appointed as Executive Director 5 of the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordination Center of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT. Mancao's appointment paper has yet to be released. Before his appointment, Mancao served as chief of the defunct Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Task Force for Luzon under the Estrada administration. He was among those linked to the Dacer Corbito double murder case in 2000. Mancao fled the country after charges were filed against them under the Arroyo administration. He graduated from the Philippine Military Academy class of 1986. Malacanang believes that the former police officer will be an asset to the DICT. Still to come, the Bureau of Corrections starts processing the release of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. The local government of Dagupan requires fish vendors to undergo rapid tests. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The Bureau of Corrections has started processing the release of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. According to Bucor spokesperson Gabriel Chaklag, they have received a copy of the absolute pardon granted to Pemberton from the Department of Justice. Bucor is now in coordination with relevant agencies that are involved in the process. Pemberton, who was convicted of homicide in December 2015 for the killing of transgender Jennifer Laude, was granted absolute pardon by the President on Monday. Here is a quick update on the efforts of the government about SAP distribution, education assistance to workers. In the Education Department, DepEd Undersecretary Nepomuceno Malawan dismissed the calls for academic freeze, saying it is a short-sighted solution that could affect the entire educational system. The hashtag #AcademicFreezeNow has been trending on Twitter Philippine since netizens share their frustrations on online learning and other distance learning modalities. Malaluan said the petition was ill-informed since online learning would not be the only distance learning modality to be implemented in the coming school year. DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones said distance learning dry runs were being done in schools so that classes would start smoothly on October 5. Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development is eyeing to finish the database of poor families under Listahanan 3 in February 2021. Justin Batocabe, director for the National Household Targeting Office, said they are now 80% complete with the encoding of the survey results. Listahanan is an information management system that identifies who and where the poor are, making available a database of poor families as a reference in identifying potential beneficiaries of social protection programs. In other news, the Labor Department reports that total of 6.3 million beneficiaries availed of livelihood assistance in Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan. The beneficiaries from the provinces of Mindoro and Romblon include Fishers Association, coconut farmers, tricycle drivers, motorcycle shop workers, women's group, and displaced workers. Lawmakers are pushing for higher budget allocation for the Department of Trade and Industry's assistance programs for small businesses. Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda questioned the low allocation of 500 million pesos for shared services facilities under the DTI's 2021 proposed budget. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said not only individuals but also cooperatives use these facilities for processing agricultural products. Lopez explained that this was an improvement coming from zero allocation under their 2020 budget. Legardo said she will move that this lost allocation be added to DTI's 2021 budget, especially during this when many small businesses had to shut down amid strict quarantine restrictions in the country. Aklan Representative Ted Haresco said there is a need to increase the budget if the government really wants to help MSMEs recover. The Budget Department proposed a 20.16 billion peso budget for DTI and its attached agencies, slightly lower than the 2020 budget at 20.95 billion. Fish vendors in Dagupan City will be required to undergo COVID-19 rapid tests. And General Santos City says it will not implement a total lockdown. More on these and other news from the provinces from Chris Mundo.
The city government of Dagupan will require all fish vendors and their helpers at the Magsaysay Fish Market to COVID-19 rapid test after one of the vendors tested positive for the virus. Starting Friday, September 11, traders, buyers, and consignation operators entering the area will have to undergo a rapid test unless they can show a negative result of a rapid test they underwent in the past 2 weeks. Mayor Mark Brian Lim said those who will refuse a rapid test will no longer be allowed to sell at the fish market. The city will also be implementing mandatory wearing of face mask and face shield even for market goers, while the Dagupan City Police Station was directed to strictly guard the entrances of the fish market. Meanwhile, an overseas Filipino worker from Qatar who returned to Negros Oriental is the latest confirmed COVID-19 case in the province. The 28-year-old female from Bayawan City arrived in the Philippines last August 29, was subjected to swab testing in Manila, and the result came out negative. She tested positive for coronavirus in a second test upon arrival. The woman is now in an isolation facility of the Negros Oriental Provincial Health. In General Santos City, the city government is not keen on implementing another total lockdown amid the increasing cases of COVID-19 local transmission. Mayor Ronel Rivera, made that clarification amid reports that the city may be placed anew under modified enhanced community quarantine after being identified as among the newest COVID-19 hotspots in the country. Rivera said they already submitted an appeal to the IATF EID and the Region 12 IATF on COVID-19 for the implementation of the more relaxed GCQ in the area. The city was under ECQ and GCQ from mid-March to May and has been under modified GCQ since June 1. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
In our business news, transforming Philippine agriculture into a dynamic, high-growth sector is essential for the country to speed up recovery, poverty reduction, and inclusive growth, according to the World Bank. A World Bank report said transforming the country's farming and food systems is even more important during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure strong food value chains, affordable and nutritious food, and a vibrant rural economy. World Bank Country Director Ndiame Diop said no country has successfully transitioned from middle to high income status without transforming their agri-food systems. World Bank support to the Philippines includes long-running programs aiming to raise agricultural productivity and reduce poverty in rural communities. For his part, Agriculture Secretary William Dar said the country's vision is a food-secure and resilient Philippines with prosperous farmers and fisher folk. The report suggests shifting away from a heavy focus on specific crops towards improving the overall resilience, competitiveness, and sustainability of the rural sector. Up next, the DOH and World Health Organization promote holistic mental wellness amid the COVID-19 pandemic in observance of World Suicide Prevention Day. And a former 4-piece beneficiary in Agusan del Sur shares rice packs to their needy neighbors. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Department of Health, in partnership with the World Health Organization, is raising awareness on the importance of public mental health, especially amid the COVID-19 pandemic, in light of World Suicide Prevention Day. The commemoration of World Suicide Prevention Day also calls attention to the plight of those who are undergoing severe forms of depression. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III raised the need to promote holistic health, which focuses on caring for the body, the mind, and the spirit. The DOH has launched a multi-sectoral approach for mental health with programs and interventions aimed at high-risk groups. Another project is the development of a multi-sectoral national suicide prevention strategy, which includes psychosocial services such as the NCMH Crisis Hotline. WH representative in the Philippines, Dr. Rabindra Abaya Singh, urged everyone to face the COVID-19 crisis with compassion and understanding for others and help in preventing suicide by socially connecting with affected people. The NCMH Crisis Hotline is open 24/7. The Moro Islamic Liberation Front has agreed to convince the members of the Dawla Islamiyah, formerly known as the Maute Group, to lay down their arms and return to the fold of the law. The agreement was reached during a meeting between Lieutenant Colonel Franco Rafael Alano, commander of the 55th Infantry Battalion, and Abdullah Makapaar, alias Commander Bravo of the MILF. Makapaar is also a member of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The parties discussed the measures they can undertake to resolve terrorism, particularly in Madalum, Lanao del Sur. The MILF side also committed to support the Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism program of the 55IB, which aims to resolve issues exploited by terrorist groups. Also discussed were the current peace and development initiatives in Madalum, as well as better ways of coordination and collaboration between the armed forces of the Philippines, the MILF, among others. Farmers and traders have donated millions of pesos worth of unsold assorted vegetables to the local government of La Trinidad Benguet and given away to the public for free. Mayor Romeo Salda said farmers and traders donated the highly perishable goods because there were no buyers coming over to the trading post for transport to Metro Manila and other parts of the country. The drop in prices of some vegetables also prompted them to just donate, then leave the vegetables rotting in the farms. Some of the vegetables were also donated to the lockdown barangays of Baguio City for distribution to affected residents. Farmers used to receive a small amount of money and a sack of rice or gasoline in exchange for the vegetables. Now, however, farmers no longer get rice, gasoline, or cash. The giving away of free vegetables started in April and is currently ongoing. The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board impounded 7 vans carrying several locally stranded individuals on board in Camarines Sur. The vans were flagged down on Wednesday at a checkpoint along the Maharlika Highway in Milaor Town. The drivers failed to show transport franchise documents. The vans were allegedly rented to bring a total of 56 stranded passengers to Visayas and Mindanao. Reports said there are stranded individuals in Metro Manila who hire public utility vehicles or private cars and vans for 6,000 to 10,000 pesos per trip. The rising incidence of COVID-19 cases in Bucor was attributed to the influx of LSIs from hotspot areas, prompting the interagency task force in the region to tighten security and quarantine measures in all borders. Members of the Catholic clergy urge the faithful to offer masses for their departed loved ones in case they are not able to visit their tombs on All Saints and All Souls Day. Manila Apostolic Administrator Bishop Broderick Pabilio assured that priests are always available to say masses for the dead. Pabilio meanwhile hopes that the decision of Manila Mayor Francisco Dumagoso to close cemeteries in the city during the first days of November will prevent crowding in the areas. Father Jerome Ceciliano of the Nuestra Senora del Perpetuo Socorro Parish in Sampaloc, Manila said the measure is necessary amid the pandemic. On Tuesday, Dumagoso announced that all public and private memorial parks, cemeteries, and columbaries in the city of Manila will be closed from October 31 to November 3. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, hailed a family in Agusan del Sur who used their savings to help their neighbors amid the pandemic. The family of Alicia and Salvador is a beneficiary of the government's Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. The family once farmed their own land but had to leave due to threats from rebel insurgency. In their new home in Barangay Balit, they were not able to continue their small farming business. Alicia and Salvador soon became recipients of 4-piece and have sent their children to school through the monthly stipend. Seeing that their neighbors are going through the same troubles as they were, the couple arranged to give away rice to some 240 indigent households. The DSWD lauded their activity and recognized them as community partners. As of January 31, 2020, 4-piece has already served 5 million poor households nationwide. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana supports the ban on home quarantine for COVID-19 patients. Over 1,000 Filipinos in the United Arab Emirates joined the clinical trials for Sinopharm's COVID-19 vaccine. The Bureau of Correction starts processing the release of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. And the DOH and World Health Organization promote holistic mental wellness amid the COVID-19 pandemic in observance of World Suicide Prevention Day. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.